In today's lesson, we're going to learn how to talk about your job. There are lots of situations where you meet someone new and you want to tell them about your job. Maybe they ask you about it, or you just want to introduce yourself. So how do you do that? Do you just say, "I am a salesman," and that's it? No, you need to say a bit more than that. You can certainly start by saying what your job is, and you could use the job name, like salesperson or engineer. Or you could say you are in a certain field. You might also want to mention your position. So rather than just salesperson, maybe you're a regional sales rep. And besides your job or position, it's a good idea to say where you work. I don't mean the location. I mean the company or type of company. So you can name the company or just say what kind of company it is. Let's practice some examples of talking about your job in this way. Listen to each example, then repeat it yourself. Ready? Let's get started.
I'm in sales with a large pharmaceutical company.
I'm a senior engineer at Fuller Associates.
I work as a sales associate with City Insurance.
I'm a marketing manager with BPT.
I'm currently the accountant for a small auto parts company.
That was pretty straightforward, wasn't it? As you heard, we used the present simple tense to state simple facts like this. So we just say, "I am an engineer," or use the short form, "I'm an engineer." And notice you can say you work with, at, or for a company. But is that all? I mean, if you just mention your job and company, people won't always understand what you actually do. So, you can tell people what your main duties or responsibilities are. I don't mean a long list of duties. I mean what you mainly do. And to talk about our main duties, we usually start with I and a strong verb such as organize, or handle, or lead. And whatever you organize, or handle, or lead will be extra information that helps your listener understand your job. That might mean mentioning specific people, or places, or activities. Let's practice talking about your main duties. Once again, repeat the examples after you hear them.
I handle tax issues for our larger clients.
I take care of all the scheduling.
I follow up with customers to make sure they're satisfied with our service.
I supervise our branches in the Southeast region.
I head up the sales team.
All right, so that's how we talk about our main duties. But how does all this sound in real life? Let's listen to a short dialogue between two people meeting for the first time. The first person asks about the other person's line of work, which is like asking what someone's job is.
Nice to meet you, John. So, what line of work are you in?
I'm in marketing with BT Industries.
Oh, is that right? And what kind of marketing do you do?
I handle all our online and print advertising.
Did you hear how that worked? The first person asked about line of work. The second person started by saying he is in marketing and names the company. The other person sounds interested, so the second person uses a strong verb to talk about his main duties. Now it's your turn to practice. We'll repeat the dialogue, but this time we're going to beep out the second speaker's words. You will have to say those parts yourself. Remember to start by mentioning the job and the company. Then you'll give your main duties. Here we go.
Nice to meet you, John. So, what line of work are you in? Oh, is that right? And what kind of marketing do you do?
So, that's how we introduce our job to someone. In today's lesson, we're going to learn how to talk about the work you do in your job. Last time, we looked at how to talk about your job, which might include stating your position and company and what you are responsible for. But what if someone wants to know more about what you actually do? For example, someone might ask what your daily routine is like, or they might ask about your current or past projects. How can you describe these kinds of activities? Well, let's start with talking about your current work or projects. By current, I mean things that are happening now. When we talk about things happening right now, we normally say we are doing something. You might use we if you mean your company or team is working on something. Or you might use I if you are talking about just what you are doing. Let's practice some examples of talking about your current work in this way. Listen to each example, then repeat it yourself. Ready? Let's get started.
We're busy designing a new housing development in California.
Right now, we're doing a big website project.
We're getting ready for a trade show.
At the moment, I'm overseeing the installation of a new machine.
That's not too hard, right? And you'll notice that it's always good to use strong or specific verbs, such as design and oversee, when you talk about what you're doing. Now, what if someone asks you about what you've done in the past? Well, to talk about your past work, it's still a good idea to choose a strong verb. Just remember to put it in the past tense. But you don't need to say was doing. You can just use the simple form, did, because it's completed. Let's try a little practice talking about your past work. Just like last time, I want you to repeat the examples after you hear them.
I chaired the fundraising committee last year.
I led the company's annual audit.
My colleagues and I designed the new elementary school in Clifton.
I used to work on site as an engineer, but now I've moved into management.
One really useful expression you might have noticed is used to. When there's an activity in the past that you did many times or was ongoing, you can say you used to do it. Now, what if someone wants to know your current routine? I mean, how you usually spend your time during your workday. Well, you can certainly use that exact expression I just used. You can say you spend your time doing something. Or you can say your work involves some type of activity. And when you mention the activity, use the ing form, like, I spend a lot of time writing reports. Let's practice talking about your daily routine with a few examples. Once again, repeat what you hear.
I spend a lot of time answering the phone and emails.
My work involves talking with customers and solving technical problems.
I put in a lot of time visiting customers every day.
Most of my day is spent calling clients and handling orders.
So, that's how we talk about our daily routines. But how might this sound in a real-life conversation? Let's listen to a short conversation between two people who have just met. The first person is asking the other person, John, about his work. Listen to how John answers the questions.
So, do you guys have any new projects on at the moment?
Actually, we've just started work on a new factory.
You must be busy. What's your day-to-day routine like?
Most of my day is spent testing new machines and checking on deliveries.
Can you hear how this works? John is asked about new projects, so he mentions something his company has just started. And when he is asked about his day-to-day routine, he explains how his day is spent. And notice those verbs, testing and checking on. Now it's your turn to practice. We'll repeat the dialogue, but this time we're going to beep out the second speaker's words. You will have to say those parts yourself. Remember to start by mentioning your current work. Then you'll talk about your daily routine.
So, do you guys have any new projects on at the moment? You must be busy. What's your day-to-day routine like?
So now you've practiced talking. So long, and happy learning. Today, we're going to learn how to talk about your company. Anytime you talk about your work, you're probably also going to talk about your company. So, what exactly do we talk about? What are the important aspects of your company that might be interesting to people? Well, to begin with, you can talk about what your company actually does. That's probably the most important piece of information. And when we talk about what our company does, we usually say we, because that shows that we're a part of the company. It's also a good idea to use a strong verb like manufacture or develop. Or you can say what kind of company it is, such as a manufacturer. And finally, you might want to mention what industry or field your company works in. All of that information will give people a good sense of what your company does. Let's practice some examples of talking about your company in this way. Listen to each example, then repeat it yourself. Ready? Let's get started.
We produce electric motors for the automobile industry.
We're an OEM manufacturer for the computer industry.
We develop software for the education market.
We make branded merchandise for small businesses.
There are lots of other great verbs you can use, depending on what kind of work your company does. You might use design, or sell, or represent, or distribute to describe the company's main activity. So that's how we explain what our company does. But what else can you mention about your company? Well, one thing you might want to talk about is your company's reputation. That means how the public or the industry think about the company. You might mention awards or distinctions which show how great the company is. Or you might say what your company is known for. And once again, pay attention to the verbs you choose. Let's try a little practice talking about your company's reputation. Once again, I want you to repeat the examples after you hear them.
My company is known for its excellent customer service.
We have won several awards for our advertising campaigns.
We're seen as one of the major players in our industry.
Our company is rated number 1 for safety and reliability.
One thing you might have noticed in those examples is what we call the passive voice. That's when we say things like is known for, and are seen as, and is rated. That's a useful way to talk about reputation because it shows how the company is generally seen or thought of. So, besides what your company does and its reputation, another useful bit of information is about your company's customers. To understand a company, it helps to know who its customers are. And how can you talk about that? Well, there are a couple of ways. First, you can use an expression like, we serve, or we sell to, before mentioning the kinds of customers you help. Or you can start with, our customers are, and name the industry or type of customer. How about giving this a try? Listen to the examples and repeat what you hear.
We serve small and medium-sized businesses throughout California.
Our customers are mainly in the automobile market.
We sell mostly to large retailers like department stores.
Most of our customers are schools and universities in Europe.
Okay, so when we talk about our company, we mention what the company does, its reputation, and its customers. Now, how does this information fit into a normal conversation? Let's listen to a short dialogue. A woman is curious about David's company. Let's hear what they have to say.
So, David, what exactly does your company do?
We make engines for farm and construction equipment.
Oh, really? My brother's in construction. I wonder if he's heard of you.
Yeah, he probably has. We're a major player in the industry.
How did that sound? David started by explaining what his company does. Then, when the woman wonders if her brother knows about his company, David mentions its reputation by calling it a major player. That means it's an important or large company in its industry. Now, it's your turn to practice. We'll repeat the dialogue, but this time we'll beep out David's words. You'll have to say those parts yourself. Remember, start by mentioning what the company does. Then, mention the reputation.
So, David, what exactly does your company do? Oh, really? My brother's in construction. I wonder if he's heard of you.
Nice work. So, that's how we talk about our so long and happy learning.